What's going on, y'all? This is Real Estate Q&A Sessions Week 55. And, yeah, I'm in a cafe. What's going on? Appreciate y'all for popping in here, as always. Yeah, we're doing a show from a cafe. I am currently waiting on my car to have... I'm getting 2 new tires. I woke up today to some flat tires, and I'm waiting for the people to be done. I'm waiting for them to be done. So I am across the street at a cafe. And I said, what better way to keep the consistency going than here at the cafe while I wait for these 2 new tires to be put on my car. But yes, as always, again, presenting to you Real Estate Q&A Sessions Week 55. I am going to do it from here. I don't have anywhere else to go while I sit here and wait for these 2 new tires. But yeah, again, consistency. That's the key right there. The fact that I am here and I'm still doing this thing. I was going to push it till later today, but I didn't want to do that because my day is already packed. It's already packed, so I figure while I'm waiting for these tires, I might as well do the show, and that's what we're gonna do. So, as always, giving you guys real estate advice. Basically, ask me anything, everything real estate related. Yes, while I am here at the cafe. This is week 55. If you guys don't know, house rules, as always, are going to be screenshot me, post to your story, let folks know what we're doing. I don't want to be on your feed. I just want to be on your story so you can share the show. You guys get more value when you guys bring more folks in here by screenshotting me and posting to your story and letting folks know what we're doing. Because as always, we are answering anything, everything real estate related while we're here and talking about all real estate topics that you guys would wish to discuss. As always, it doesn't matter whether you are trying to purchase your first house, your 10th house, your looking for a loan, trying to figure out strategy. This is where you come. This is where you get your free questions asked. I don't charge you guys for this information. I don't, right? This is how I give back. This is how I help my community out. This is how I help the folks that used to be me. I used to be you guys, or some of you guys, when you were thinking about purchasing homes or investment properties, and I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't have anybody to talk to, and I just went through it and learned a lot and lost a lot along the way. So I'm trying to help you guys not do that. So while you guys are here, feel free to ask anything that you might think will be a roadblock for you, or you might be in a situation where you're trying to figure out what's the best option, right? Do I buy a house now? Do I buy a house later? Right? Where do I go for financing for an investment property? Do I go to a bank? Do I go to a hard money lender? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do I do in this situation if I'm trying to hire contractors to do X, Y, Z? All of that stuff, I've been through it, literally from finding my own deals to hiring contractors, managing contractors, financing, you name it, pretty much. So I have experience in almost every point of the real estate game. So feel free to ask your questions below. Weekly update. I am currently, no, I did not buy any new houses this week. I am actually looking for a new deal. What I am doing right now is I am trying to finish up these rehabs. I have 2 rehabs going on top of a 3rd project for a client. If you guys checked my story out yesterday, I posted a video of a client's house that we did that we're still working on. He wanted to remodel his bedroom and include a bathroom in it. So we converged his 2nd and 3rd bedroom into 1 bedroom. So he went from a 3-bedroom, 2 bedroom, 2 bath to a 2-bedroom, 3 bath. And in his room, he now has a bathroom. So he has his own bathroom in there. So we had to install a bathroom. We had to widen out, enlarge his room, widen his closet out, and now we are remodeling his kitchen. So that's another project, and then other small little things. But the most important one is the flip that we have that we bought last month. Bought that last month. I'm taking way too long on it, in my eyes, because it's a small house. I wanted to be done in 4 weeks, but we're on week 6. A couple things had to come and, matriculate and happen. But either way it goes, we're looking at listing this thing. I want to have it listed tomorrow. I think everything's going to be happening today as far as staging and stuff like that. But I want to have it listed like by the weekend. Like I'm ready to go. I'm ready to take advantage of the market, right? And then my other house, I have a duplex that's being renovated, and we are just now getting to the point where we have everything prepped. We already redid one of the bathrooms. Installed. We had to fix a drain. Not fix a drain. We had to cut out a drain, put a new drain system in, brand new tile, all that kind of stuff. The electric's being worked today. New lights. We're almost at the point where we can paint, right? I have one more bathroom that the guys have to fix up, and yeah, we should be good to go. Now, my only thing there, and I haven't showed you guys this house yet, but I will show it to you maybe next week. The one thing about that particular house is it has an old boiler, right? So if you guys don't know, up north, my up north folks, houses were heated by boiler systems, oil boilers and gas boilers. And this is an oil boiler, a boiler that is ran by oil. So tidbit, right? If you're thinking about buying a property, an investment property that has an oil tank, right, that runs a boiler. What you want to do is, if you're thinking about saying, okay, all right, this property I'm gonna rent it out to tenants. Well, oil systems, oil boilers have this big tank, and you have to keep that tank filled. When the oil runs out, the heating system's not going to work, so you have to fill that tank with oil. So if you rent this property out, right, who do you think is going to keep that oil filled? It's going to be the responsibility of the tenants. Now, what I've learned is to play offense, or I'm still learning. I try not to play defense as much. I played defense when I first started doing this thing, right? You play a lot of defense, and there's a lot of reactionary things that you have to, deal with, right? So, if you got old plumbing system and you decide not to change it out before you rent it to tenants, oh well, guess what? When they crack, now you're fixing them up, and now you're playing defense. You're playing a defense a lot of times. If you don't replace the water heater when you get before you move tenants in there, and the water heater croaks, guess what? You're playing defense. So if I have an oil tank system and I have an oil tank and I plan on renting it out to tenants, do I really think and believe that the tenants are going to keep that oil tank filled up? No, they're not. I've learned not to trust tenants. So what am I going to do? I'm going to eliminate that. I'm going to eliminate that source if I can, especially while I'm in the rehab phase. Because let's say I leave it, and this boiler system is about 75 years old, 60 to 75 years old. Let's say I leave it, the tenants move in. They don't fill the oil. They don't keep the oil system filled up, and what happens is that oil tank will run dry, and that boiler will be trying to suck all that oil, the little remaining bits of oil, through the tubes so it could feed itself. Well, at the bottom of these oil tanks, where all this oil sits for years and years and years, it's sludge. If that unit runs dry, it's going to be trying to suck as much stuff as it can through those pipes, and then that sludge gets in there. What happens when the sludge gets in there? It backs up the system. Guess what you're doing now? You're not only having to fill that system up, but you're also having to clear those lines out. Money. So what I'm going to do is, you can look at it two ways. You can just get rid of the system completely and put an HVAC system in, or, which is going to be costly, now you got to cut the radiators out, cut the system out, and run ductwork and put a whole new system in. Or what you can do is you say, well, instead of running this oil, instead of having this boiler be an oil boiler, let's just turn it to gas. That is a viable option. And so when you take the oil component out and convert it to a gas system, you are no longer reliant on oil. You can cut that out. Now you can get rid of that, and now your tenants aren't responsible for oil. They're just responsible for gas. So you get a higher gas bill, right? Because now you're adding a gas system, but you alleviate the opportunity for oil to be a problem, right? Tenants not being responsible for the oil system. That's preventative measures, right? That's how you take care of that. So that is something that I'm thinking about doing. Obviously, I've never done that before, but I know that that's an option. And you think about what's the best option for your rental. All preventative, right? I was dealing with, and here's another tidbit, right? On my first rental property, very first rental property, I spent a lot of time doing landscaping and, mulching and making things look nice outside and all that kind of stuff, right? Nowadays, that grass is getting cut, and that's it. There's no, I'm not spending my time doing a bunch of landscaping or remodel. No. Get in, get out. Get in, get out. That's the point, right? I'm gonna cut the grass and call it a day, right? I'm not adding trees. I'm not adding mulch. No, I'm not doing any of that landscaping stuff. Why? Mainly because when tenants aren't going to keep up with that kind of stuff, right? They're not going to keep up with. They barely keep up with cutting the grass, right? And so we start adding flowers and things like that, flower beds and trees and shrubs. They're not going to. They just don't trust tenants to be able to do that kind of stuff with the right way. And so I was dealing with some clients this week, and I start their job tomorrow. But I was dealing with some clients this week that they have a backyard that is full of dirt. And they wanted to mulch the whole back. No, they wanted to put a rock garden in the backyard because they felt like the tenants weren't going to keep up with the yard itself. Great, cool. And I said, look, we can sit here and make a rock garden and all this kind of stuff, but it's still, rock gardens are great, right? But they don't alleviate you having to do some type of maintenance to that yard. Weeds grow through rocks. Weeds grow through concrete, right? So at some point, you're going to still have to come out here and tend to the yard because we know the tenants aren't going to have to. So it's like this. You can either spend the money and buy all these rocks and pavers and put it over this whole yard and cover this whole yard with rocks and pavers and stuff and still have to do maintenance to this yard because weeds are going to have to grow through weeds are still going to have to, grow through these rocks and stuff like that. Or what you can do, and they didn't think about this perspective, or what you can do, you just throw cement over this bad boy, right? Throw cement over this bad boy, create a parking spot or two parking spots, and charge the tenants $100 to $120 a month for parking, off-street parking, and then that essentially will pay for that $100 to $120 will essentially pay for the parking pad over a course of a year or two, and then you don't have to worry about the ongoing maintenance of maintaining the yard because you just covered it up with concrete. Guess what they decided to do? And I told them this. I said, look, the fact that you want to keep up this yard is great, right? It's your first property. You're spending a lot of time here. You're doing all the little maintenance yourself. You're doing all the. That's great now, but if you plan on buying multiple properties, chances are you'll learn that you don't want to be spending all this extra time making landscaping and stuff like that. You're not going to have time to. You're going to have multiple properties. You're just going to want to get it cut, and that's it. So I said you have to get in the mindset of thinking about rentals as something that you want to sink as much time as you can into them, but you don't want to go over the top, because what will happen is you'll go over the top, make it all nice and pretty, come back in a year after the tenants move out and see that they didn't keep nothing up. They didn't keep it up. They let the weeds go. You don't want to do that. So you want to alleviate that frustration, and put that energy in maybe towards your own house, maybe towards your own apartment. You want to make your rentals look nice, but you don't want to overdo it, right? Unless you know that the person that's going to be living there is going to keep up with whatever it is you're doing, right? And so, yes, that's why I keep things pretty simple, and why I suggested that option for those people, because guess what? That's a means of making more money. Anytime I buy a property that has a garage, I'm charging for parking. I'm charging for storage. That creates extra income. So if my rent is $1,200 and they want to rent out the garage for $100 a month for some extra storage or for a car or whatever the heck, guess what? I just created another $1,200 a year just off of having parking, off-street parking. People love off-street parking, especially if you're on a congested street or a one-lane street. You see what I'm saying? So that is the whole point of, that is the whole point of creating more income via your rentals while spending less time and playing defense on your rentals and not offense. I mix that up. Playing offense on your rentals instead of defense. Preventative measures, always preventative measures when it comes to your rental properties. I'm still learning this, but I know now, like, am I putting garbage disposals in my rentals? No, not putting garbage disposals in my rentals. Am I putting what's it called? What are those things called? Am I putting ceiling fans in my rental? No. Am I putting what else? What else do I do? I'm changing my water heaters out. My water heater's 10 plus years old, or at least 5 years old. I'm just changing the water heaters out. You guys know how many water heaters I've purchased? I've purchased every house that I've purchased probably has a new water heater, because whether you buy the house with the existing water heater and let it ride, chances are that water heater is going to croak on you. So always check the date on your water heater. So I'm changing the water heaters out. You know what I'm saying? I'm changing the cabinets if the cabinets look like trash. Right? There's certain things that you want to change when it comes to your rentals before you put tenants in place. Simply because our whole point is we want to create passive income. It's hard to create passive income if you throw if you throw a rental out there and every time, you got tenants in place, but every month you're paying for this maintenance cost, you're paying for that maintenance cost, or, the real things that hit you, that hurt you, are the systematic things, like your water heater, your roof, your electric, your plumbing. You know what I'm saying? Your central air system, your furnace. Those aren't cosmetic fixes when your tenants call you. Those are expenses that are $500 to $1,000, $2,000. Who knows? Those are those kind of expenses. If you have the ability and the money to put to front those repairs or replacements up front before you put tenants in there, I highly advise you do so. A rental is not a flip. You want to, with a flip, you just make everything look good. I know people that if the systems look bad, they'll replace the systems. But they're in the business of making things look good, right? I didn't say efficient. Flips are people flip homes to make them look good, not necessarily run efficiently. So if whoever can make a house look great, so it can sell at the price that it needs to sell, that's what they're gonna do. They're not in it to have an efficient home for 10, 20, 30 years. I had a couple clients that had bought a flip 10 years ago. They've been living in this house for 10 years, and it was a flip. You talk to them now, they say their house is falling apart. Everything was put together cheaply, and it just wasn't an efficient house. Rentals, guess what? They're yours. They're yours for the time being and for the foreseeable future. So guess what? You want to fortify your rentals and forego the cosmetics. You want to forego the cosmetics for the systems. The systems are the most important thing, right? Because the cosmetic cost for your rental properties, that's small potatoes. Painting, cabinets, putting in the floor. That's all cosmetic stuff, right? What's gonna kill you what's gonna kill your profits on the long run as you have tenants is your systems. I can't stress that enough. Go ahead and that water heater. My earphones died. So go ahead and replace the water heater. Go ahead and replace the roof. Go ahead and replace the plumbing. Go ahead and upgrade your electric panel. Go ahead and do all that stuff while you buy. Oh man, I didn't shout anybody out. What's going on, Elena? Corey, Lace Marley, Low Soup, Jay Moses, Jasmine. What's going on? Robin, Michelle, how you doing? Hey, appreciate y'all for popping in here. If you guys have not been here before, this is a real estate Q&A sessions, week 55. 55 weeks straight of bringing you guys nothing but straight value. I am not home. I am not in the field right now. I am at a cafe while I wait for my tires to get put on my car. I had to buy 2 new tires today. One of the tires was flat this morning, and so I had to replace that, put a spare on it, and then I drove around, took care of my morning business, went to 2 properties, had some appliances delivered, and now I am waiting across the street at a cafe while Firestone puts new tires on my car. As you guys know, things happen. Pretty sure you guys have woken up to flat tires before. You know what I'm saying? So, yes. But the most important thing is that I'm still here giving you guys a show each and every week, every Thursday, 12 o'clock. Today wasn't 12 o'clock, but doesn't matter. It's still today. Every Thursday for the past 55 weeks, I've been giving you guys nothing but straight value. You can ask me anything, everything real estate related, and I'll do my best to answer. Again, disclaimer, I am not a guru. I just know more than the average Joe, and I've experienced a lot of things in the real estate world. So if you have any questions, whether you want to buy your first house, your 10th house, contractors, loans, refinances, market vibes, the market, strategy, whatever the case may be, if you guys have any questions, concerns, please feel free to ask right there in the comment section below and or where that question mark is. I will happily answer your questions. And again, also, guys, just remember, this is a free source. I am a free resource for you. I didn't have that when I started. I didn't have that. I'll tell you what I had. I don't know. I had help. But that help didn't know where we was going either. So, yes.
If you try it,
so yeah, as you guys know, we are. We've got up to here. So yeah, what I'm gonna do once I get done taking care of this car issue is go right back to work, because that's what I do every day, all day. I work, trying to get these houses listed making sure guys are where they're supposed to be, so work gets complete. That sums up my job and what I do every single day. Now, will you guys get to this point? Yes, at some point. But you can play it two different ways, right? Like, there's a difference. You guys don't have to be like me. I immerse myself in pretty much all spaces within this real estate world, right? So the contracting side, the agent side, the investor side, all of that stuff, right? You guys, there's people that don't want to know the contracting side, and they pay top dollar to not know that stuff. That's perfectly fine, right? If you have the bread and you want to be hands off, hey, knock yourself out, right? Knock yourself out. That's just, some people are busy or they have other stuff to do, and so, where I might get a job done for $5,000, it might cost them $8,000 to $10,000. But I'm a little bit more involved. Not even a little bit. I'm a lot more involved in my processes and what I do. That's not to say that you guys have to be. Because a lot of times people get intimidated by not knowing the contractor side and how to do this, how to do that. And you don't have to, right? You can pay somebody to know that for you. I just know it. But that's through a lot of experience. And you guys don't have to have the same experience I have to be an investor. You don't have to have my experience to be able to flip a house. And you don't have to have my experience to be able to go buy a property, rent it out, right? There's certain things that you can pay for, maybe at a premium, but there's certain things you can pay for that'll alleviate you having to spend an immense amount of time managing rehabs or managing subcontractors and things like that. There's people in place. You don't have to manage your own rentals. You can hire a GC. Are GCs going to be more expensive than subcontractors? You bet your ass they are, right? They are in place to manage the contractors, manage the project, and all you do is cut a check and make sure things are going swell. You can hire property managers. Sometimes you don't want to be the in direct relations with your tenants. I've been there. I've done that. Yeah, especially. I just remember today's the 20th, and I have some tenants that have rent due today. I just remembered it. Anyway, we'll give them a call later. But yeah, sometimes you don't want to be directly talking to your tenants. It's hard to enforce a lease when somebody's playing at your heartstrings, right? Everybody says, I'm going to be, tough on my, I'm going to play it by the book on my tenants. Yeah. Some people will be. But there's other cases where, your tenants might fall through hard times, and then you feel for them, you got a relationship with them, and you let them slide. It just, hey, I'd rather not. Been there, done that. I'd rather not. I'm not saying that I'm a bad person, but I would like somebody that is not me, a third party, to enforce my lease. I would like a third party that is not me to collect my money. I would like a third party who is not me to find my tenants. That is a whole job in itself, especially if you have multiple properties. When you have one property, I highly suggest that you manage it for the first year. You try it out, see if you like it or not. There are certain people that enjoy that kind of work. There are certain people that okay. There are certain kind of people that like managing their properties. I've met a couple owners that have done that, and they have no problem managing their own, not rehabs, but what am I calling it? What am I trying to say? Rental properties. Sorry. Yeah. That lady distracted me. But yeah, so other than that, there different strokes for different folks. You can either be involved with your rental properties or your rehabs, or you cannot be. The choice is yours. It all depends on your time, your timing, and things like that. But just because you see somebody buying houses and doing all this stuff, and then they're not involved, doesn't mean that you can do that. That works for them. Also, just because you see somebody, in the mix, working hard, in the field, managing their rehabs and tenants, doesn't mean that you're going to be able to do that either. It's situationally based, right? And you'll figure out what's the best option for you, right? There's some cats that sit back and they just manage from afar, right? And there's some people that's in the field. I'm one of those guys. I'm in the field. You can do either or. Doesn't mean you're going to be great at it, but you should do. You can do either or. You'll fall within either spectrum. You know what I'm saying? There's benefits to both. You can pay for time, or you can pay for knowledge. Me, I choose knowledge. Right? I'm a lot more versatile and how do I want to say it? I can hold a conversation with almost anybody. Contractors, lenders, other investors, agents, property managers, appraisers, inspectors. I can hold a conversation with damn near anybody, because I'm trading my time for knowledge. I'm not trading my time. I'm not trading my money for time. I'm trading my time for knowledge. Especially right now. I'm young. I'm still young. I don't have to be. We don't have any kids yet, but I'm putting in work on the front end so that when I do create this, when I do expand this company, when I do expand my real estate company, I know who to hire, I know how to hire, and I know exactly what everybody should be doing and how it's supposed to be done. What's going on, Don Souls and Hen.DMC? Appreciate y'all for popping in here. Guys, this is week 55 of real estate Q&A sessions every Thursday, 12 o'clock. Today, I am in a cafe while they put 2 brand new tires on my car, because I walked out this morning. My fiance, she got a flat. Elena's got a flat. She had a flat tire last night or this morning. So I had to basically, what's the word I want to say? Divert my plans today to make sure that she got tires today, new tires on her car, so that she can go to work tomorrow. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm in a cafe right now. But yeah, outside of that, please feel free to ask your questions. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to do so. You can ask them right there in the comment section below, and or where the question mark is. You can ask me anything, everything real estate related. I don't care. People next to me getting some free real estate advice. So it's the guy behind me. Oh, by the way, I had bought some food at the Wawa, and I brought it in here because there's literally nowhere to do the show. There's literally nowhere to sit down. Can't do that at Firestone. I could have walked across the street. I got a rental property across the street, but I didn't feel like walking in the hot sun. So I came to this cafe and thinking that I could eat my food here and then buy something, so that'll enable them to be like, okay, yeah, you can stay here and eat your other food from another place, but you did purchase something here. And doing so, they're not letting me rock out like that. So I'm not really tripping about it, but it is what it is. So excuse me. So outside of that, guys, please remember that. Oh, here's another scenario. I feel like it's very important that when it comes to evaluating your deals, you want to make sure that follow the comps. You're evaluating a property. I don't care whether an agent sent you the deal. I don't care whether, a wholesaler is giving you the deal or whatever. Always run your own numbers, do your own due diligence. There was a property this week, as I told you, I'm looking for another deal. But there was a property this week that was on the market. I usually don't shop on the market. I don't, right? But when you're on the market, these days there's not a lot of inventory. So I go on the MLS and I look up a deal. I look up this deal that was listed. Great deal. I ran the numbers and I was like, whoa, this is a phenomenal deal. Priced really well. It was priced really, 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 really well. And so I went out there, I tried to get in contact with the agent. The agent wouldn't pick up, so I pulled up at the house, tried to get appointments, couldn't get inside. Being persistent, basically. So I'm gonna fast forward. Finally get in contact with the agent. The property had tenants already in there. So they were selling the property with the tenants inside. The tenants were on a month-to-month lease. And so I was already a little weary about that because it's hard to evict people down here in Baltimore City. The property didn't make sense to keep in rent. It made sense to flip it due to its proximity to a very hot area, and also because of the price and the spread. So I'll give you the numbers, right? So it would have been a 110 purchase, with about $50,000 of reno into it. So we're all in 160, and comps with the naked eye were about 260, 270. That's a pretty big spread right there, right? We're talking maybe 40, 50K. It would have been a nice spread, right? So, all right, my bad. I had that was the tire people. So anyway, what was I saying? So anyway, so everything looked great on paper. And when I started doing some research, I started looking at the comps. The basic comps look great. There was a house that sold next door for $270. That house sold for $270. So what I learned is that any house that's like across the street, right next to you, those are like A+ comps, especially if they're flips, right? So if I'm looking for comparables, I'm going to be looking at that house as a comparable, right? That house is going to supersede a house that's 2 blocks away that's similar, because this house is on our block. It's very similar. The square footage is all the same, X, Y, Z. I just follow that house, right? Well, that house being an A+ comp, could you go off of that one? Yeah, you could. Well, what about the other comps? Well, there weren't any other comps that were around the 270 range. They dropped off drastically. And went to 204, and then there was like one for 170. But they were on the same block, but blocks away. Same street, but a couple blocks up. Regardless, that house that sold 4 houses next door to us still holds a lot of weight, and it sold 2 months ago. So now you're in a dilemma. It's like, okay, well, the comps look great, right? well, this comp looks great. I can just, even though it's only one comp, it's an A plus comp, and it's one of the highest sold on the street recently. Can I use that comp? You sure can. But you can use that comp, but you have to be reassured that nothing else is going on. You know what I'm saying, in the area. Basically, do your due diligence. Most people will stop there. Most people would have bought that house and said, "Oh, I'm gonna get 270 for this." I'm already looking at the spread, and the spread is way over what I would normally try to get. So for the interest of time, I know my battery is about to die. But anyway, I'm gonna get to this point. So I said, okay, I know I can buy this deal. I can do this deal. Can I get 270? I don't know. The fact that it's only one of these things, even though it's next door to me, scares me a little bit. So what do? You do a little bit further digging. So I went and pulled, over the last 180 days, any properties that were on that street that were withdrawn. I wanted to see what other properties sold on that street, that were listed, that were taken off the market. And sure enough, I found one, and it was on the same block. And so when I went to that, when I found there was one that was withdrawn, I went to that house. Guess what it was listed for? It was listed for 205, and they withdrew it after 111 days and took it off the market at about 195. I was like, okay. And I look at the pictures. The house is fully renovated. It looks nice. It was like, well, why didn't they sell? I called the agent and I asked her, hey, what happened with this house? Blah, blah, blah. He was like, he's talking to me about the street, how it was a one-lane street. It was hard to park, XYZ. And, he said the owners just ended up renting it. So basically, he said they couldn't sell it. Very telling. Very, very, very telling. So at that point, I'm like, well, that just reaffirms what I was thinking in the first place, which was the house 4 doors down that sold at 270 was an anomaly, which happens. There are houses that sell 20, 30, 40, 50K over what the comps are supposed to be at because they're anomalies, which means somebody really wanted that house and they paid for it, right? And that happens. The rest of the pack might be at 220, 230, whatever, but somebody might have been in a bidding war with this other house and it sold for exponentially more. It doesn't mean that everybody else can repeat that same price point, but it does mean that you have to dig deeper. And just because there's a comp that's the highest in the neighborhood and then there's nothing else below that, it's a drastic drop off, you want to be wary of those comps, even if they are next door. So that's my point. Do your due diligence. I went an extra step further, 2 layers further, to figure out if my comps were correct and my numbers were correct. And I feel better that I didn't do the deal than if I did do the deal. Because if I try to go and put the money in and get 270 and I only got 190, I've been a bad deal. So outside of that, I got to go, guys. Battery's running low. And it's time to go get my car. So week 55 real estate Q&A sessions. Thank you guys for popping in here. Show love, show out. I'll see you guys next week.